Hi everyone, another episode of my project analysis video. I'm Elaine and today I'm going to share with you on Nava Grove, another nice development that's going to be in the Mount Sinai area. And I think these 2 months are really the busiest time of the year because we are expecting a lot of new launches that's going to start its preview and also its launches. But today we're just going to look at Nava Grove and let's take a look now. Okay, these are just some artist impression of Nava Grove, and you can see that it's actually 3 main towers, and later I'm going to share with you more on its views and its environment. We look at the project information first. So Nava Grove is a joint venture between MCL Land and Cinemas Land. 99 years leasehold, and then in terms of the total units, it's actually 552 units. The vacant possession is expected to be November 2028. So that's the general project information. And in this location map, we can see that, okay, this is Nava Grove. It's actually situated here. We can see that it's actually very close proximity to Holland Village area. Dover MRT station is here, but in terms of the walking distance, it's actually about 10 to 12 minutes walking distance. We are also near to the Henry Park Primary School. So this is where we are. Over here at the location map, one thing I want to highlight is that Nava Grove is actually in a private enclave area, because you can see over here it's all the private condominiums, and in fact this is actually the Pine Grove and Mount Sinai area. MRT distance, like I mentioned, it's a little bit of distance, which is actually 10 to 12 minutes walk to the MRT station. So for Nava Grove, MRT is actually not something that we want to focus or highlight on, because we're going to talk about more of the living environment in this Pine Grove area. Some of the basic amenities that we can find nearby, like for example, the nearest shopping center will be Jelita Shopping Center. You have your cold storage there. And if not, it will be Clementi Mall. It's just a 5 minutes driving distance. And of course, we have like Star Vista, Rochester Mall within close proximity. In less than 10 minutes, we will actually be reaching the Holland Village area, and a drive down to Orchard is actually just about, I think, 10 to 12 minutes driving distance. So that is how close it is to all the amenities from Nava Grove. And one thing that I want to highlight in this area, it is very unique because it is actually an education belt. So just now I mentioned it's actually close to Henry Park Primary School, not just the primary school that we are looking at. In this area, we are actually looking at a whole of education belt. Why is that so? Because besides the primary school, we have got secondary schools. All right, we have got secondary schools over here, and tertiary schools like Ngee Ann Poly, Singapore Poly are also in close proximity. And also not to mention our university is also very close proximity. So really in this Pine Grove area, it is an education belt. So you can actually stay there for like very long period of time, from your primary school all the way to your tertiary or even to your university. So that's where the location is for Nava Grove. And one thing I want to highlight really is, just now as I mentioned, it is not near to MRT station. So MRT is not the focus over here. And what we want to highlight is the living environment, because there are still a lot of buyers who actually prefer very quiet, serene environment where you every day wake up, you face a lot of greenery. So, and also really in terms of the views that this development is going to provide, it's going to be very nice for own stay. So this is what we want to really highlight on, and later I'm going to share with you more of how the units are actually positioned to face the different views. So as I mentioned, MRT station is not something that we want to highlight on. But some of the clients that we often met will actually be asking this question: hey, if I'm going to buy something that's not close to MRT, does it mean that I'm not going to profit as much? So we want to bring some case studies for you to take a look. Let us take a look at these two different developments. One is actually Principal Garden, which is very far from MRT. If you want to walk, it's probably a 15 to 17 minutes walk to MRT station. Next to the Redhill MRT station, we have also a new development, which is Alex Residences. So this is actually just doorstep, just next to the MRT station. It's just a 3 minutes walk. So now the question is, if there is two different developments within this close proximity, does it mean that Alex Residence can actually profit much more just because it's next to MRT station? So let us take a look. I'm going to use a 2-bedroom, all right? This is actually a 2-bedroom in terms of to compare the purchase price and also the sold transaction price. So for Alex Residence, for a 2-bedroom unit, it was actually purchased at 1,007 plus per square foot, and it was sold at 2,001 per square foot. The highest profit for a 2-bedroom for Alex Residence is about 248,000. I would say that this is actually a very decent profit for a short holding period. But we want to compare again with Principal Garden. Purchase price was actually slightly lower, even though the purchase date was actually about 3 years later. Now, why is that so? Because usually when you purchase a property near to MRT station, there has to be a certain premium to it, right? So purchasing a very good location next to MRT station, developer usually will actually be placing a premium on the development. So for Principal Garden, it was bought slightly lower price per square foot, 1,006 plus, but in terms of the resale market, it was able to fetch at $2,300 per square foot, which means to say for a 2-bedroom layout, 2-bedroom floor plan unit, the highest profit, we are looking at $537,000. So from this case study, we can see that it is, of course, having an MRT is something good to us also because of convenience, but it does not necessarily mean that staying next to MRT station will definitely be able to profit much more than others which are not. Another example I want to also share with you, which will be Sengkang Grand Residences and also Riverfront Residences. So on what is highlighted on the green side, this is actually where Riverfront Residences is. Similarly, you can see that in terms of Riverfront, it is far from MRT because it's not close. It's going to be, I don't think it's even walkable. But if you look at it, the surrounding environment surrounding Riverfront Residences, it's a lot of greens, and you also have a little river over there, all right? So in terms of the view, the environment where it is for Riverfront Residences is probably a more quiet and serene environment. Whereas for Sengkang Grand Residences, it is definitely a good location because it's an integrated development, MRT is just doorstep. So, but again, we want to compare what is the difference, the profit that both developments are looking at. So for Riverfront Residences, I'm using a 4-bedroom as analysis in this example. So for 4-bedroom development, my profit that I saw from Riverfront Residences was 810,000. 800,000 profit for a 4-bedroom. Let us take a look at Sengkang Grand Residences. Okay, so again, if let's say I'm going to compare the same unit type, which is 4-bedroom. In order for me to make a 800,000 in Sengkang Grand Residences, my resale price has to be at $2,003 per square foot. And what was transacted in terms of the resale market, the transaction over here was actually at sale price is at $1,009 per square foot. So from here to the 2003 is definitely still a gap. So for Sengkang Grand, the 4-bedroom unit type was actually profit at 217,000. Then of course the next question, at the point of time where there is actually a gap between 2009 to 2003 per square foot, these two. So the question is that at the point of time of sale, is a project in OCR able to attain that $2,003 per square foot? So this is the question. So this is a comparison between the two examples, all right, Sengkang Grand and Riverfront. So of course, I also want to emphasize that I'm not saying that locations or developments next to MRT station or developments in a very good location don't profit as much. This is not the main focus of it. But what I'm sharing is that there's still a lot of developments that buyers will like because of the living environment. And because of that, when it comes to the resale, right, when buyers get to feel the environment, get to feel the project, buyers looking for own stay, they are willing to pay a premium. And that is why we can see from Principal Garden, the purchase price in the resale market was actually much higher than Alex Residences. So not forgetting that there is still a pool of buyers who really want nice environment for own stay. And this is where we are looking at Nava Grove, which is actually sharing the same kind of attributes. So let us take a look now at the site plan, distribution chart, and the unit mix. Okay, so this is for Nava Grove site plan. 3 blocks, as I mentioned, 3 blocks over here. And towards the north facing is where we have the Clementi Forest, whereby that means to say units over here will have unblocked views of the forest, of the greens of the forest view. Then units facing towards this, which is, if it's over here, it's more of the inner facing, that you'll be looking at your own pool, your own landscaping. And over here will be more towards the older Pine Grove condo, which is also the current existing project, but it's actually a relatively much older project. So this is how the facing is going to be like, and I'm going to look into the different unit type later on. But what we can see from here is that the units that's facing, okay, of course over here is all unblocked for this block, and over here is also all unblocked views. But the bigger units at the corner here, probably there will be a little blockage from the block. And next to it, this is actually another new development which was launched a year ago, which is Pinetree Hill. So because of these two developments, which is just side by side, I'm going to take reference to Pinetree Hill for a lot of the comparison so that you can actually have more information on these two developments. Why is that so? Because today you're getting something at this area, you know that there's going to be Nava Grove and Pinetree Hill. As a buyer yourself, you'll be comparing these two developments. So when it comes to resale market, later on, your potential buyers will also be looking at these two developments. So I think it's good for us to actually take a look at these two to take reference. Okay, so as I mentioned, in terms of the views, over here is more of the greenery views, and over here is more of the, there's a little lower rise development, which is the Old Pine Grove, and a little bit further from it will be actually the Dover Forest. Okay, distribution chart, we can see over here, the highest is actually 24th story, 3 blocks, starting from second floor, highest is 24th floor. Why is that second floor? Because of the elevation. So the whole development is also elevated up. So we don't have any ground floor with patio units. Unit next, this whole development, the smallest unit starts from 2 bedroom, 2 bed, 1 bath, and we have got 2 bed premium, 2 plus study, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and a 4 bedroom dual key. And also the biggest unit will be a 5 bedroom premium plus private lift. So now let us take a look at the 2 bedroom layout. The 2 bedroom smallest unit is actually a 2 bed, 1 bath. We can see that this is actually quite a classic 2 bed, 1 bath layout. 2 bedrooms, dumbbell layout, 1 room at one side. And then we have a master bath. Master bath having a Jack and Jill, 2 doors because your guests can actually enter from the main living and dining area. So in terms, like I mentioned, it's more of a classic layout, nothing much to pick on, just that because it's in the 2 bedrooms are usually in the center stacks, so you don't have any windows in your kitchen or even your bathroom. So that's just something for you to take note. Kitchen is nicely tucked in, tucked aside, so definitely much better than those open concept kitchenette. Right? And in terms of the facing, we have got units that's facing towards the forest over here. So for 2 bed, 1 bathroom, right? For 2 bedroom, or in fact, I can see from the site plan, in fact, all the 2 bedrooms enjoys very nice views. So that's for the 2 bedroom, 2 bed, 1 bath. Next, one size up, we have got 2 bed premium, which is 700 square feet. Just now was 624, this is 700 square feet. And there are 2 different layouts, BP1 and BP2. If you look at the floor plan itself, I would say there's nothing major difference. Both of them has got the dumbbell layout, and also similarly no toilets in the, no windows in the bathroom and kitchen. Just something to take note is that what I feel is that BP2 probably has a nicer flow into the from the main door to your living and dining area. In terms of how the dining is going to be positioned over here, you probably have a better flow, and in terms of the size, it's not so narrow. Whereas for BP1, because of how the dining is going to be positioned, right, it is a little bit narrower if you can actually visualize from these 2 floor plans. So that's just one difference between BP1 and BP2. So that's for 2 bedroom premium. Next, the biggest unit for 2 bedroom will be 2 bed plus study at 786. And these are all the inner facing. As you can see from here, it's actually all the inner facing. Again, in terms of the layout, it's also very classic. 2 bed plus study, 2 bedroom dumbbell layout. And what is good is that you have a proper study tucked to one side. So this can actually, if you look at this, some buyers actually do comment that layout like that, right? You can actually do this into like a walk-in wardrobe. and this becomes a very big master bedroom. So this is also something for you to consider. So that's for 2-bed plus study. Kitchen is also nicely tucked to one side. Again, there is no windows in the kitchen or bathroom area. So that's for 2-bed plus study. Okay, so we now seen that we have now concluded there's actually different type of layout for 2-bedroom, 2-bed 1-bath, 624, 2-bed premium 700 square feet, and we have the 2-bed plus study, which is actually 786 square feet. The next question will be, if I want to get a 2-bedroom in Nava Grove, which would be a good layout for me to consider? Should I go for the smallest unit possible, or should I even consider the biggest, like the 2 plus study? With this in mind, I want to take Lantoria and Lentor Mansion as a case study for us to analyze the projected price of Nava Grove. Now, why am I using these 2 projects? Because Nava Grove and Pinetree Hill, like I mentioned, they are side by side. And Pinetree Hill land is not under the harmonization of land. So for Pinetree Hill, it is a non-harmonized land. But for Nava Grove, because it was actually about a year later, it falls under the new regulation. It is actually a harmonized of land. So that will be the main difference between these 2 projects. And that's why I'm going to use Lantoria and Lentor Mansion as a case study, because these 2 projects are also next to one another, and similarly, one is harmonized and one is non-harmonized. So I'm going to use the difference in terms of the land price and what has been transacted in Lantoria and Lentor Mansion to make a projection of how Nava Grove is possibly going to be priced. So let us take a look at this, the upper part, which is Lantoria, which is non-harmonized, and Lentor Mansion, which is harmonized. Now, Lantoria land price was actually bought at 1130 per square foot per plot ratio. And Lentor Mansion was actually bought slightly lower because of the harmonization. The land price is $985. So we can see between these 2 land price, there is a 14.7% difference, all right, between Lantoria and Lentor Mansion. Next, we want to see what was the average 2-bedroom price that was transacted on launch day for these 2 different developments. So for Lantoria, the average 2-bedroom pricing was about 2001-ish. And for Lentor Mansion, it's at 2274. So again, we can see from these 2, there is actually a difference in the per square foot price. It's a 7.7% difference. So the next thing is, I want to add up the total difference. The total difference is actually at 22.4%. So this is a bit confusing, but I'm going to explain again. Okay, so Lantoria was bought at 1130. Lentor Mansion land price was bought slightly lower at $985 per square foot per plot ratio. So the difference between those 2 land price is a 14.7% difference. Whereas for Lentor Mansion, because of the harmonization, the per square foot was actually sold higher, which is actually 7.7% higher. So the land price was lower, but the selling price was higher. And this percentage is actually adds up to 22.4% difference. So we want to take note of this total difference, which is 22.4%. Next, we take a look at Pinetree Hill and Nava Grove. Pinetree Hill non-harmonized of land, the land price was bought at 1318 per square foot per plot ratio. Nava Grove, a harmonized land, was bought 7.9% lower at 1223 per square foot per plot ratio. So calculating these 2 difference, we can see that there's actually a 7.9% difference. So remember just now I was saying we need to have this amount of difference because we want to project how much Nava Grove is possibly going to launch at. So now with this 22.4% difference, which we take reference from the Lantoria and Lentor Mansion, we know that the land price between Pinetree and Nava Grove is 7.9. We use 22.4 minus 7.9. We get a difference of 14.5% difference. All right? So then we go back to see how much was Pinetree Hill launched during its launch day pricing for 2-bedroom, which is averagely about 2003. That means to say my price projected for Nava Grove is going to be an estimate of 2006-ish per square foot, because this difference will add up to be 14.5 plus my land price difference. I will have this 22.4, which is similar to Lantoria and Lentor Mansion. So I know this is a little bit confusing, but not to worry. If you want to understand more, you can always contact me, and I'm be happy to share with you more. But using this as a reference, let us move on to how we see the projected price for Nava Grove. So now we have seen that, okay, just now as I mentioned, we will estimate the price to be about 2006-ish. Next thing, we're going to see how much a 2-bed 1-bath is going to be priced, and is it going to be something attractive if we were to compare to Pinetree Hill. So we have the first unit type, which is 624, a 2-bed 1-bath. For Pinetree Hill, because of the space that actually provides a more luxurious living of a 2-bed 1-bath, the size is slightly bigger at 700 square feet. So now we want to see, at a 2005, just now we projected Nava is going to be probably about 26. But if let's say I were to look at the 2005 per square foot, my total quantum for 624 square feet is at 1.56 million. If it's at 2006, it's going to be at 1.62. If it's at 2007, it's going to be at 1.68. So I would say that for a 2-bed 1-bath, my pricing could be about this, as low as 1.5 to about 1.6-ish million for 2-bed 1-bath. Next, we look at how much price Pinetree Hill has been transacted. We can see from here, these are the transacted price. The average price for a 2-bed 1-bath at Pinetree Hill is about 1.6-ish to 1.7 million. So this is the price that has been already accepted in Pinetree Hill at the Mount Sinai area. So if buyers have already accepted a 1.6 to 1.7 million, and if Nava Grove is able to provide units for 2-bed 1-bath at 1.5-ish to 1.6 mil, I would say that Nava Grove 624 at this pricing would be something worth to consider because of what has been accepted in Pinetree Hill for 2-bed 1-bath. So this is for 2-bed 1-bath comparison. Next, we want to look at the 2-bedroom premium comparison, 700 square feet for Nava Grove. But just now, as I mentioned, Pinetree Hill 2-bed 1-bath is also at 700 square feet. So I want to use these two, although one is 2-bed 1-bath and one is 2-bed 2-bath, but the sizes are the same. So for Pinetree Hill 2-bed 1-bath, just now earlier we mentioned that the transacted price, the accepted price in Pinetree Hill is about 1.6 to 1.7 million. So if Nava Grove at 700 square feet for a 2-bed 2-bath, my projected per square foot price is, remember just now was about 2.6 something, but if developer on launch day is to be able to give a very attractive price at even at 2.450 or 2.550 per square foot, my estimated price for the total quantum is at 1.7 million-ish, up to about 1.8. So for similar pricing as what is accepted at Pinetree Hill, at Nava Grove, you'll also be able to get a 700 square feet 2-bed 2-bath. So this is also something that you can really look at for Nava Grove 2-bedroom units. Next, 2-bed plus study. In terms of 2-bed plus study, I would say that the sizes are quite close. For Nava, it's 786 square feet. For Pinetree Hill, it's 797. So if I were to use the estimated projected per square foot price, it is going to be very similar to Pinetree Hill. So for 2-bed plus study, I would say that both of them are equally similar in terms of the total quantum price. And in terms of the layout, they are also very similar, which is actually the kitchen tucked to a side, this one. And also you have a proper study area over here. And it's also a dumbbell layout. So I would say both are actually equally nice in terms of the layout, and the prices are very similar. So for 2-bed plus study, I think it is actually good to compare both layouts and both development for 2-bed plus study. So our top choice for 2-bedroom, definitely if you were to go for an investment point of view, as I mentioned just now, for 624, if developer were to offer something at 1.5-ish to 1.6, I think it is a very good buy for Nava Grove 624 square feet. And especially for the stack 1 and 8, because it's facing towards another development, which is Ashtor Green facing. So Ashtor facing, that means to say that because of the facing of another condo, prices per square foot wise tends to be more attractive than those that is actually facing the unblock. So if you're to go for investment, I think good to consider stack 1 and 8 for 624 square feet. But if you are looking for own stay, maybe you will want to have a nicer view, you can actually consider the 700 square feet, which is 2-bed 2-bath for your own use, and stack 21 because of the inner facing. So that's for 2-bedroom analysis and our pick for 2-bedroom. Okay, next we want to look at the 3-bedroom layout. So again, using how we analyze the projected price for Nava Grove, just now using the 2-bedroom example, we also want to use the same reference for 3-bedroom to project the price. So for 3-bedroom, same thing, we are going to use Lentoria, just now as we have already done it, Lentoria and Lentor Mansion, just that the price that's actually launched, instead of using the 2-bedroom right now, we have to use a 3-bedroom. So for a fair comparison for 3-bedroom as well in Nava Grove. So Lentoria 3-bedroom average per square foot was sold at about $2,000 per square foot. And then for Lentor Mansion, it's about 2,200 per square foot. So the difference in price is 8.4. So right now, my total percentage difference will be 23.1, slightly difference. So because I'm using 14.7, adding the 8.4 and 14.7, that's how I derive the 23.1%. So then next thing is Pinetree Hill, the average price for 3-bedroom was about 2,003, close to 2,004, 2,396, close to 2,004 per square foot. So if I were to use back the same calculation, having the difference, main difference, I actually less off the total difference, I less off the land price difference between Pinetree and Nava Grove, and achieving back the same difference, right? My projected price for Nava for 3-bedroom would be about $2,007 per square foot. So that's for Nava Grove 3-bedroom. So later, again, I'm going to share with you on the pricing and what has been accepted in this area. But before that, let us first take a look at the different floor plans that Nava Grove has have for the 3-bedroom layout. So first layout is 947. This is actually, I would say, more like a 3-bedroom compact dumbbell layout. This layout, we also seen this very similar layout in my previous video, so you can always refer back. So this is a dumbbell layout, just that in terms of own stay-wise, I feel that in the resale market, a lot of buyers also did comment that they actually prefer more of the classic layout. But this is probably going to be something new upcoming in the resale market. So for 3-bedroom dumbbell layout, we have got master bedroom over here, bedroom 2, and bedroom 3. Just something to note is that there is no windows in the kitchen and bathroom area. So I think this is going to be something of a little concern, especially for own stay buyers, because we are very used to the natural ventilation. So this is probably something to consider. But one thing good is that because of how it is positioned of the dumbbell layout, right, this becomes a little junior master because you have the bathroom which is ensuite to the bedroom. So this is for 947 3-bedroom. And then the next unit type is 990 square feet. We have got units that's facing the outside, facing towards the Ashtor Green, which is another development, the old condo. And we have got units that facing this direction, which is towards the Clementi Forest as well. And between these two 990 square feet, type C2 and C3, there is no major difference. Just that the foyer area, this one has a turn to it. So some buyers actually do prefer this kind of entrance because it's more privacy. Because if your neighbors walk past your main door, they won't be able to look straight into your living area. But for this one, although some buyers actually also do prefer this layout because it seems to be a little bit more space savings for this layout. But the one setback is that some do not prefer that because of the privacy of looking into the living and dining area. So mainly for this one is more of individual preference for this 990 square feet. One good thing to note is that for this layout, it comes with the natural ventilation, which is all the windows which is actually present in all the necessary areas, which is your kitchen and your bathroom. So that's for 990. Okay, now we come to the comparison. So again, I'm going to take reference to Pinetree Hill, as I mentioned earlier, because these two developments are just side by side. So imagine yourself right now as a client looking at Nava Grove or Pinetree Hill, you definitely will also want to compare these two developments. So years later, when you want to resell your unit in the resale market, definitely your next group of buyers will also be doing this comparison. So it is good to actually analyze this before we actually decide on which is the correct unit type to actually be looking into. So for Nava Grove, we have got the, so first of all, I want to take Nava Grove 947 square feet, comparing with Pinetree Hill 969 square feet. Again, using our projected price for 3-bedroom is about 2007, I will be looking at 2.56 mil. But if developer were to be able to offer much attractive price, say for example from a 2005 per square foot or 2006, I'll be looking at the quantum of about 2.3-ish, high of 2.3 to about 2.4. I would say that this price is actually something which is very reasonable because we again look at what has been accepted in Pinetree Hill. The average price for a 969 square feet is actually at about 2.3-ish mil. On the higher floors, it's actually about that 2.5 mil. So in terms of the pricing, it is very similar for these two different layouts. Just that in terms of the layout, I would say that I do prefer Pinetree Hill, a 969 square feet layout, because it comes with the natural ventilation of the windows in the necessary area. So if let's say these two side by side, same price, I will go for Pinetree Hill. But then again, at this point of recording, at this time, Pinetree Hill 969 square feet, we are only left with like 1 or 2 units available. So that is for the 900 over square feet comparison for 3-bedroom. Okay, next. Then we remember for Nava, we have the 947. We also have got the 990. 990 will be the one with the natural ventilation, with windows in the kitchen and bathroom area. So comparing this side by side with Pinetree Hill, again, if let's say Nava Grove is at this estimated price of 2,007 per square foot, I'll be looking at about 2.6, which is a little bit on the higher side as compared to what has been transacted or accepted in Pinetree Hill, but because the size is slightly bigger, so that explains the slightly higher quantum price. But again, if developer is going to offer at 2005 or 2006, then I would say the prices are very, very comparable between the 990 and the 969 in Pinetree Hill. So that's for 990 3-bedroom comparison. In terms of the choices available, like I say, because for Pinetree Hill, this particular layout of this 969, we really do not have much units left. So this is what is going to be available in the market right now. It will be more of the Nava Grove, which is 990 square feet. Okay, next thing I want to compare, which is 3-bedroom premium, 1098 square feet. So just now we talked about Nava Grove, 947, 990. One size bigger in Nava Grove would be 3-bed premium, 1098 square feet. So let us take a look at the layout. So this layout, also a very classic 3-bedroom layout, but it comes with a bomb shelter, all right? And then, this is something that I also want to highlight, this STO. It is additional storage space. So I've already seen the show flat and the show unit, right? This storage space is actually quite a deep-in storage. So you are able to really store your, like, for example, your luggage, your vacuum cleaner. It's really good space of storage. So I think this is something very useful for us for additional storage. And then there are windows available at the kitchen area, bathroom, and also for the kitchen, there is actually additional carpentry, additional dry kitchen area. So I think that this layout, nothing much to pick on, really is a very nice layout for 1098 square feet. Okay, in terms of the facing, it's actually facing towards the Clementi Forest. So this is something that, just to take note, and I'm going to do some price comparison later. So for 1098, facing the Clementi Forest. Next one, we have for the 3 premium for Nava Grove, there is actually another one size bigger, which is 1109. So for 1109, we have CP2, CP3, and CP4. If you look at the layout all side by side, again, there is no major difference, just that the walkway, these two seems to be quite similar, but CP4 seems to have a slightly longer walkway. That's about it. And in terms of the facade, like for example, over here, for CP3, you have got additional wall that's protruding. So depending on the facing, it might be a little bit blocked from this CP3 layout. So that is about it for the difference between these three. But the facing will be very different. For CP2, it'll be facing towards the Astral Green. For CP3, it'll be facing towards Pinetree, which is actually at this side over here at Pinetree. But you'll probably be having a little pocketed view towards the Clementi Forest. But you'll be looking at your own landscaping as well, like your swimming pool and your landscaping area. And for CP4, as because it's over this side, but towards the south facing, so it's more of the old Pine Grove facing. So this street layout, no major difference, but big difference in terms of the facing. So that's for 1109 square feet. Now we want to do a comparison between Nava Grove itself, my 1098 and 1109 square feet. What is the difference? Okay, so for 1098 and 1109, and also again taking reference to Pinetree Hill 1216 square feet. Okay, let us take a look at Nava first. Nava Grove 1098 and 1109 square feet. The projected price that we are looking at, if it's at the higher of the $2,007 per square foot, it's going to be around that 2.9-ish. If it's at the lower of the $2,005 per square foot, I'll be looking something like 2007 to 2008. So 1098 and 1109 is very similar. But for Pinetree Hill, one very different thing about Pinetree Hill in terms of the 3-bedroom premium is that the size is actually much bigger. For Nava, we have the 1,000 plus square feet, but for Pinetree, one size bigger, it will be at 1216 square feet. So I would say that if you're someone looking at the 3-bedroom premium, Pinetree Hill at 1216, it can be a very comfortable living space of a 3-bedroom, but the total quantum purchase price is actually at the higher side of 2.9 to about slightly over 3 million. But if developer for Nava Grove is able to offer at about 2.7 to 2.8, I would say that this quantum price is a missing link, and that fits into this whole area of a 3-bedroom premium size of 1,001. Because remember, the 3-bedroom compact, the sizes are all around 900 over square feet. Same for Nava and Pinetree Hill. But if it's a 3 premium, for Pinetree Hill, the size is 1216. But Nava has got size which is 1098 and 1109. So these two layout can actually fit in between, and therefore you'll probably be expecting an in-between in terms of the total purchase and quantum price as well. So something worth considering, which is the Nava Grove 3-bed premium, 1098 and 1109 square feet. So this is for the 3-bedroom premium. So just now, as I mentioned, remember I was saying 1098 because it's a Clementi forest facing. So just to take note of that. Why is that so? For 1098, because it's over here, it's a Clementi forest facing, definitely developer will place a premium for the very nice greenery and unblocked view. So for that example, if I were to take 1098 multiplied by 2550 per square foot, my quantum price is at 2.799, close to 2.8. But not forgetting, we still have a 1109 square feet. If I were to price it just $50 difference, $50 per square foot cheaper, my total purchase price is at 2.772. And in terms of the facing, it is still not too bad. Either you have your inner facing, or you probably have little pocketed view for this 1109. And in terms of the layout, it's also not major difference. So definitely in terms of the pricing for 3-bedroom premium, I will go for 1109 because of the facing. And because of the facing, the per square foot price would be likely to be slightly cheaper, and your total purchase price will also be lower if you compare with 1098 square feet. So that's for 3-bedroom premium for Nava Grove. Next, we want to take a look at the 4-bedroom layout. So same thing, just now what we did for 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom, we're going to do the same for 4-bedroom. So I'm not going to go into too much of the explanation, but also similarly using Lantoria and Lentor Mansion as a comparison, my projected price for Nava Grove 4-bedroom is also going to be about $2,007 per square foot. Alright, now we want to look at the different layout that Nava Grove have for 4-bedroom. The sizes for 4-bedroom is at 1335. We have type D1 and type D2. The difference for this D1 and D2 is the facing. Okay, so for D1, it's actually the forest facing. So definitely, as what I mentioned in the 3-bedroom example, forest-facing layout should be able, developers should be pricing it a little premium because of its views. And then for D2, it's actually facing towards the old Pine Grove. And again, not much of a difference, probably just the foyer area. This one, you can see that it's actually more of a squarish area, This one a little bit narrower. So that's about it. In terms of the layout, it's more of which facing would you be looking at for this 1335 square feet layout. So again, taking comparison with Pinetree Hill, Nava Grove 4 bedroom, smaller of the 4 bedroom is at 1335 square feet. So for Pinetree Hill, interestingly, the 4 bedroom, the smaller of the 4 bedroom is actually at 1292 square feet for the smaller of the 4 bed at Pinetree Hill. So we want to take a look at these two layouts side by side to compare. For Nava Grove, I would say that this is more of a portrait layout that we always mention. It's like a deep in. That means to say, this is your balcony, your living area, and then it's actually a deep in, longer kind of portrait layout. Just that, in terms of the dining area, I'm not so sure if, let's say, you were to place a dining area over here, this area here might be a little bit narrow over here. So that's for the layout of this 4 bedroom. We have got 4 proper bedrooms, of course, and then with your windows at your necessary area, a little dry kitchen at your dining area. One main difference is that for Nava Grove 1335 square feet, you have got additional common bath. And this common bath is in between your bedroom 2 and 3. Again, 2 doors opening, we call it the Jack and Jill toilet. Potentially, you can call it actually the ensuite bedrooms as well. So that's for Nava 1335. But I want to bring your attention to Pinetree Hill 4 bedroom because the 4 bedroom, although the size is smaller, but it comes with a private lift. So a private lift for 1292 square feet. And coming out from the private lift, you have your own little foyer with a window at the foyer. Now this is quite rare because usually in terms of the foyer area, but private lift with foyer, what we have seen a lot in the resale market, the foyer doesn't have a window with it. Doesn't come with a window. So when you come out from your lift and then step into a foyer, it could be dark, can be quite dark if there is no window. So I think this is something that is very nice. And the main difference is really the layout, not just a private lift, but for Pinetree Hill 4 bedroom, it comes with a wide living frontage. Wide living frontage, we call it the landscape layout. And usually in my previous videos, we often highlight that buyers who are looking at 4 or 5 bedroom, they want to be able to feel the grandness of the whole living area because that's the first impression when you step into the house. So having a wide frontage living is something that can actually be able to provide the kind of space and the luxurious living for a big unit, especially for 4 and 5 bedroom. So this is what Pinetree Hill 4 bedroom can offer you. So it comes with a private lift and also a wide living frontage. And also comes with from the kitchen. Kitchen is also a rectangular kitchen, but it comes with additional yard. So as compared to Nava Grove, for the kitchen area, you have a dry and a wet kitchen, but it doesn't come with the additional yard. So that is something to take note for the 4 bedroom comparison because it's 2 totally different layout for Pinetree and Nava Grove. In terms of the price, let me just come back to the price again. In terms of the price for Pinetree Hill, what's available right now, like the lowest floor available, the price is about 3.2 million. We are looking at about $2,004 per square foot. If for Nava Grove, if let's say we are looking at a 2005 per square foot, I will be looking at a quantum of 3.34 million. The reason for the quantum to be higher is because of the size is bigger. Size is at 1335, whereas for Pinetree Hill is at 1292. So bigger size definitely equates to a slightly bigger quantum. Definitely quantum is something that we'll be looking at, but I think more importantly for a 4 bedroom comparison is the layout that is important. Like I mentioned, which is the layout that can actually provide you with a more luxurious living for 4 bedroom. Okay. Next one will be a 4 bedroom dual key in Nava Grove. So this is very interesting because Pinetree Hill doesn't have a dual key layout, but Nava Grove does have a dual key layout. So dual key is often for buyers who want to rent out the studio or the 1 bedroom as a passive income to cover your mortgage. So that's how you can stay in your own house, but yet renting out the other area for a rental amount. So that is how dual key works usually. Just that in this Mount Sinai area, for a 4-bedroom dual key, I'm not so sure whether is this a good choice to look into, because buyers who are looking at Mount Sinai area, I would say, to be very honest, is more of really own stay. Families who want to stay near to their parents in this area, coming into this Pine Grove area. So that's the reason why I do not think that a dual key might work in this area. And usually for rental purpose, we also want to consider something which has got, like I mentioned, the direct access, more convenient in terms of the MRT. So this is something that we really need to consider if you are need to reconsider, I would say, if you're looking at a dual key layout in this area. So something that I will probably not suggest for Nava for this 4-bedroom dual key. But in terms of the price, let us also, besides the layout, let us just compare with the price using Pinetree Hill pricing. Why is that so? Because for Nava Grove 1464 square feet, it is actually the same size as Pinetree Hill, which is one size bigger. So just now Pinetree, we have 1292 as a smaller 4-bedroom. One size bigger is 1464. And this 1464 is the same size as Nava 4-bedroom dual key 1464. Putting layout aside, we also want to look at the total purchase price. Say, for example, what is available at Pinetree Hill is actually around that mid-floor at 3.72. So for Nava Grove, if let's say it's going to be at our projected price of 2007, then definitely the quantum is higher. But again, if let's say developer is looking at the 25 to 26 range, the quantum price will be very similar to Pinetree Hill. So that's for the pricing. But again, as I mentioned, I would think that Pinetree Hill is also something, Pinetree Hill 4-bedroom 1464 is probably something that will be much preferred for own stay buyers, and also later on for resale buyers who are looking to stay into this area. Let us take a closer look at the Pinetree 4-bedroom 1464 square feet. Just now, as I mentioned, Pinetree Hill has got the private lift. So same thing for this one. We have a private lift and a foyer that comes with a window. And again, this is actually the white frontage living for 4-bedroom. So something that a 4-bedroom buyers would really love to have and would want to be looking at this kind of layout. Another part of it is that the kitchen area. This kitchen area comes with a little island, and more importantly, this area over here, we can see that it's also a very wide entrance to the kitchen. So if you are doing your heavy cooking, then of course you can actually enclose up the kitchen and then you do your cooking, your food preparation. But if you are actually hosting, you have your guests coming to your house, you can actually open up this area. And that's how you get to feel this whole area. The kitchen is like integrated into the living and dining area. So this whole space is really very spacious, and it does feel very grand, especially when you have guests coming over. You can really open up and you have ample space in your living, dining, and your kitchen area at your island top area. So comparing with Nava Grove, as I mentioned, because this is a 4 dual key, so this is your studio area. So what happened is that you come in from your main door, you have two separate doors. From your main foyer, you have 2 separate doors. One door will opens up to your studio area that is probably for rental, and the other side, it opens up to your master bedroom, bedroom 2 and bedroom 3, which is your 3-bedroom living space. So in terms of the layout, this will be more of it doesn't have a wide frontage, it's more of a portrait layout that we're talking about, a more deep in. And so that's the comparison for Nava Grove 4-bedroom dual key and Pinetree private lift. As I mentioned, I think that this is probably a more preferred layout if you were to ask my opinion, because of how a buyer, in terms of how a buyer will be looking for 4-bedroom, the grand and luxurious living. So next thing, we have talked about 4-bedroom, the smaller 4, which is for Nava, is 1335 square feet. We also talk about Nava Grove 4-bed dual key. One more layout for the 4-bedroom premium. Comes with a private lift, will be 1550 square feet. So this is for Nava Grove DP1 and DP2, 1550 square feet, comes with private lift. Okay, so let us take a look at this layout now. This is a private live area. Coming out, you have a foyer. All right, your private live foyer area. It is actually, now this layout will be more similar to what we have discussed earlier on for Pinetree. We have got the white frontage living. Same for DP1 and DP2, your white frontage living. So just one little difference. Just now, if you've seen my comparison for the Pinetree 1464, the kitchen is actually having a white frontage, remember? White opening to the kitchen area. For Nava 1550, it's more of a more typical kitchen that comes with a yard at this area. Okay, but of course, in this 1550 square feet layout with a private live, it is really equipped with whatever you need for a 4-bedroom, right? You have your proper kitchen area, you have a dry kitchen, you have your wet kitchen, and your yard, a private live. You have your also your bedrooms. One thing to take note is that I think that probably the 1550 square feet for Nava Grove, the bedroom should be a little bit bigger than Pinetree Hill because of the space that it offers over here. Not just putting a king size bed, you also still have got your space for your dresser or a study area before you come to your wardrobe space. So that's for Nava Grove 1550. In terms of the facing, it's actually over here, more towards the inner facing. All right. So that's for 1550. And of course, we still want to bring back Pinetree Hill as a comparison. Now we have Nava 1550 with private live and Pinetree Hill 1464 with private live. So again, putting these two side by side, I would still recommend or more prefer the Pinetree Hill 1464 layout because of how this whole configuration is. Okay, not just the white frontage, and also what I really like is how the kitchen can actually be opened up, all right, and really in terms of the kitchen, you enjoy much more space. So that's for these two comparison between Nava Grove 1550 and Pinetree Hill 1464. In terms of the quantum price, I would say that because the sizes are quite similar, not too far off. So if let's say developer is going to price it at $2,005 per square foot, my total quantum price is at 3.88 mil. So what's available right now at Pinetree Hill for this 1464 is also close to about 3.8 mil. So in terms of the pricing, it's very comparable, just that in terms of the layout, I would prefer the Pinetree Hill layout. Lastly, we come to the 5-bedroom layout. Let us take a look at what Nava provides. 5-bedroom premium with private live is the size at 1722 square feet. In terms of the layout, it's very similar to the 4-bedroom premium, just that everything else is bigger because of the size of 1722. So we have a private live. Coming out will be the private live lobby, or you call it the foyer area. You have your very spacious master bedroom. I can see that the master bedroom is really, really spacious because you, like I mentioned, besides your wardrobe, you still have space for a study, and then your master bed, which is likely going to be king size bed, and you still have got space for your 2 bedside table. So definitely the master bedroom for 5-bedroom premium for Nava Grove is going to be very spacious. So that's for 1722 square feet. You also enjoy the white frontage, which again, I emphasize, is usually very important, or one of the main requirement or criteria that buyers often look at, especially for 4 and 5-bedroom. So for 5-bedroom and Nava Grove, it does offer the white living frontage because the feeling is very different. Once you step into the house, the narrow balcony and the wider balcony and the living area, the feeling is very different. So for 5-bedroom private live, 5-bedroom 1722 Nava, it does have this very nice feeling of the white and the generous space that it provides. Okay, so that's for 5-bedroom premium. Again, we want to bring in Pinetree Hill to compare. Pinetree Hill 1733 square feet. Nava Grove 1722, Pinetree Hill 1733. The size difference is very negligible, it's very different. So what's available at Pinetree Hill for a second floor is about 4.3 something million. So again, if Nava Grove were to be priced at $2,005 per square foot, very similar per square foot, we'll be expecting very similar price range. So this will be very similar to what I compare for the 4-bedroom premium. If in terms of the pricing quantum, it's very similar. But if I want to compare in terms of the layout, then Pinetree Hill would be the more preferred layout. Pinetree Hill 5-bedroom layout is also very similar to what they have for the 4-bedroom. Your very nice kitchen area with an island top, and then your 5-bedroom master bath comes with a bathtub, and more importantly also, not just a bathtub, you have a separate walk-in wardrobe for your 5-bedroom in Pinetree Hill. So comparing these two layouts, again, I will go for Pinetree Hill for the 5-bedroom. So that's the end of my analysis. To sum up, I would say that comparing, again, to highlight that what I have been conducting in terms of the analysis for this Nava Grove, I have been bringing Pinetree Hill in many times to do the comparison because we want to know what are the two developments that both can actually offer. So for Nava Grove, just now we mentioned for 2-bedroom, quantum can be very attractive. So for the 2-bedroom and 2-bed premium, we will potentially looking at Nava Grove for the 2-bedroom. And 3-bedroom, the 3 premium, the size of 1098 and 1109 is a very good size for 3-bed premium because what Pinetree Hill offers is at a bigger space of 1216. So unless you do really want to have a very luxurious living of a 1216 for 3-bedroom, otherwise, you can also consider Nava Grove Premium 1098 and 1109 because the total quantum price will be probably slightly lower and it fits into the missing quantum of between a 3 compact and a higher of a 3-bed premium. So that's for 3-bedroom. For the 4 and 5-bedroom, because of the very nice layout that Pinetree Hill does offer, I would actually prefer the 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom in Pinetree Hill. So that's the end of my analysis for Nava Grove. I hope that you have got greater understanding of what both developments can offer in this area, and that will actually help you to decide on which is the one that you would like to go for. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If not, I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.